Hi everyone, it's John. Another Tuesday, so I've got another book review for you today, and this one is a book, a novel more specifically, by BookTube's least controversial author, Cormac McCarthy. This is his second novel from 1968, and it's called, I think it's one of the ones that gets a little bit less attention than other novels, like the ones from the Borders trilogy. Uh, all the Pretty Horses and Blood Meridian and stuff like that. This is Outer Dark, 1968. Hard to believe this is over 50 years old already. But it was these books, books like Outer Dark, the early books that Cormac McCarthy came out with, that forever branded him as a kind of writer of dude bro lit. And I think, continue to think that this is kind of unfair and inaccurate. As someone with a distinct dislike of all things dude broy, and a simultaneous admiration for McCarthy and his work, I feel pretty confident in suggesting that McCarthy's writerly peers are not Chuck Palahniuk. I've never had to actually pronounce his last name before. Charles Bukowski and Bret Easton Ellis. I think they're more along the lines of William Faulkner and Flannery O'Connor, with one significant point of divergence, and that would be that McCarthy's achievement lies almost completely in his ability to use diction as a steely, sharpened knife to craft his sentences free of anything that's too heavy or unwielding or sclerotic. Writers of the so-called Southern Gothic kind really do have a way of using language at its most spare and visceral, but McCarthy takes it one step further. His language is never florid, I would say, but it always leaves you feeling satisfied in knowing what you absolutely need to know about the characters and not much else. While Blood Meridian certainly had the plot that would have pushed it along in the hands of a less talented author, it was McCarthy's use of language in that novel that made it such a satisfying reading experience, and such, I guess for lack of a term, a more literary one. The scene setting of Outer Dark will come as really no surprise. As with McCarthy's other novels, it's full of tenebrous personages, barely formed as characters, more hidden than revealed, wandering in their shadows in a bleak, nihilistic universe, searching after grace. Deep in the mountainous recesses of Johnson County lives Rinthy Holm, a woman who's just given birth to her own brother's baby. Her brother is named Culla, Culla. And shortly after the baby's born, Culla abandons the baby in the woods to die. He tells her that he's going to do this, and she's okay with it. But Rinthy becomes suspicious that he's actually sold the baby to a traveling tinker. So she sets out to look for this tinker who she thinks might have her baby. And when Culla discovers that she's gone, he goes out and looks for her. So all of them, the tinker, Culla, Rinthy, and the baby who's with the tinker, are sort of all on their journeys. And that's where the book really earnestly begins, when all three of these people are set out, really all looking for one another, and sort of leaves the reader wondering what's going to happen when they all find out about one another and what's really going on. And all the while, there's this sort of nefarious, evil group of three people that are following them all around while they're sort of bumbling, trying to find one another and running into characters and everything. The Gospel of Matthew, verses 11 and 12, lend the book its name, promising that people from all over the world will feast with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But the subjects, quote, of the kingdom will be thrown aside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and the gnashing of teeth. Like in all McCarthy novels, his vision is of the world is a heavily moral one, but it's one equally unclear about whether that vision is morally good or morally bad. We never really get a clear, definitive answer as to whether good or evil will prevail. Nevertheless, the Bible makes stakes in the novel to claim, as much as it does in any other McCarthy novel, that the Bible is one way to interpret moral evil or morality through the lens of human action, human good, and human evil. McCarthy's characters live in a world that gleefully dashes their hopes and their dreams, but at the very end you're left with the barest hint that there might be some distant, far-off chance of salvific grace for them, and you just sort of leave your fingers crossed and hope that they might find some sort of salvation, some sort of grace, not necessarily in a theological sense, but maybe a secular kind of grace. This is either the second or the third McCarthy book that I've read, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as I did Blood Meridian, which I read 5 or 6 years ago, and which is also reviewed on this channel if you go back way back in the logs, or just search Cormac McCarthy. This is Outer Dark by Cormac McCarthy. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you've ever read it, or if you've read anything else by McCarthy, let me know. And I'll see you in the comment section. Bye, guys.